Hello and welcome to another episode of the Truth Hoops podcast. A lot of off-season moves that we're going to get to. Everything going on in the NBA right now.
All right. So what I wanted to get into, obviously, let's start out with Jaylen Brown here. Jaylen Brown was traded. This was an incredibly shocking move, I think, for the NBA and just NBA fans. I don't think in a million years we would have guessed the trade that went down for the Celtics, and clearly a Celtics fan such as Bill Simmons didn't expect it either. You have Jaylen Brown going to the 76ers for Paul George and two firsts and two seconds, and basically has started this war on analytics and how good a player really is. And I was just curious to hear your interpretation of this trade. I'm sure I know you were shocked. You know, as the days have kind of gone by and we've seen all this analytical debate, what are your thoughts?
Uh, this is pretty crazy. It's clear that I guess the Celtics. I mean, we knew they were analytics driven, right? Like that's like kind of the whole debate about their offense. It's purely like analytics driven. Shoot a bunch of threes, generate offense. Just driving kick and stuff. But to think that they were taking the analytics on Jaylen Brown all season like this literally, like they actually think that he did not have a good season, they're not sure how good of a player he is. And it's just such a contrast to like what the media and I guess even us as fans, also as as we do this podcast and we cover the sport. Jaylen Brown I thought was fantastic this year. MVP candidate, he's coming off, the Jason Tatum injury, having to carry this team, being able to do that, get them to 55 wins, and then the Celtics just turn around and say, you know what, we don't think he's that good. And like I understand you're trying to get Giannis, you're trying to get better, because you look around the NBA, you look around the Eastern Conference, and say, you know what, we're not good enough. We lost to Philly, um, and the Knicks go on and win the title. You want to try and get better. But then once you let it get out that you're so involved in this Giannis trade and that Jaylen Brown is the centerpiece of the trade, you have to get it done because you put
Mhm.
yourself in this position now that Jaylen Brown feels unwanted, unappreciated, and it seems like he's been feeling this way for a while, and which is why he said the things he said post like them losing in the playoffs, that this was the most fun that he's had, that he feels that he had the best season of his career and that he had the most fun, and that just led all to this weird breakup where the Celtics end up not only shipping him in conference, but for Paul George, who is still a good player.
The
But
76er fans were tired of after like 10 games.
yeah, I mean, he played better after he came back
He
from
did.
the suspension.
Played well in
But
that series too against
yeah, he
Boston.
did. But Paul George at this point in 2026 is not an elite player anymore. He's a decent 3 and D wing player, I guess you could say these days.
He's like a good role player that's just
Yeah,
incredibly overpaid.
but you're trading a top 10 player last year
hmm
for that and
Well,
two first
analytically, he's
rounders.
apparently not. He's apparently not even a top 50
Like
player.
like when Windhorst said that the Celtics viewed the season that like Derek White had a better season than Jason
Yeah, that was weird because
than
Derek
Jaylen
Wright just
Brown.
had his worst season of his career, so it's a little unclear if he
Derek White
stepped
was
up
was
or
awful.
he
For
was awful.
like compared to what he's been as a Celtic, he was not good at all.
hmm
And that was what made the fact that they won 55 games so much more impressive on the behalf of Jaylen Brown.
hmm as it goes with anything, it's not just black or white. There's a gray, there's a middle ground, there's an area
Hmm.
here. So this whole analytics debate versus, the true hoopers debate, um, it's kind of frustrating because in a way, the hoopers group is right. And in the way, the analytical department is probably
Yeah,
mostly right.
it's somewhere in the middle. Yeah.
When we're having a discussion that Jaylen Brown isn't a top 50 player in the league analytically, that's where it becomes ridiculous.
Hmm.
Or Kenny Atkinson saying analytically we've won all three games versus the Knicks. That's where it gets ridiculous. And we can
Hmm.
look at this as unbelievable. I don't know all the analytics numbers when it comes to the Knicks, but I do know they don't play the way the Celtics do in regards to shooting a three and living dying by the three all the time. And that has flopped in the playoffs in the last two seasons. And it was actually really refreshing to see this Knicks play a complete balanced brand of basketball. Um, where yes, they did shoot threes. Everybody shoots threes now, but they had other ways that they could beat you, right? They played really good defense, right? They had guys who were mid-range snipers. It was a pretty fun brand of basketball to watch, especially when you look at Oklahoma City and how much they rely on Shea getting to the free throw line, and I think San Antonio also played a pretty good style of brand of basketball. Boston, the way they play is an offensive style of basketball to me, which is they shoot threes, and if they go in, they win. If they don't, they lose.
Hmm.
And no matter who the opponent is, that's and that's just if that's the future of basketball, which I actually think it's not because you're seeing how it's worked out recently. It hasn't
Hmm.
worked because I mean, if Joe Mazzulla just tells his basketball team to go to the basket a few more times in games one and games two of last year versus the Knicks, those games could turn out very differently. They shot threes. I think I don't know what it was. I think the 2 point attempts in the fourth quarter were like embarrassing from the Celtics standpoint. It's too long ago. I can't pull that up, but I do know that I'm happy to see that that's not working.
Yeah.
Um, and Boston, if they traded for Giannis, they would have had to have played very differently. It's just funny that if you're a Celtics fan, you're this close to trading for Giannis, and you think you're going to get Giannis, and then you end up with Paul George and a couple firsts, and not even any of the Clippers firsts.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And then
Weird.
you build. I mean, the Sixers now have what the best roster in the Embiid era. Like this is a very good
Yeah.
team on
I mean, there's no
paper.
Ben Simmons on it.
Yeah. I mean,
I think, Ben Simmons obviously was a good basketball player at one point. People kind of forget that. Like we just like to clown on
yeah.
him that he never shot. He was a vastly different player. Like just watch him like in his first 2 years in the league. He's a completely different player. And so I think the Simmons, Redick, Harris, Jimmy Butler, Embiid team was pretty close to this. But I think you're right. When it comes to raw ceiling talent, you look at what Maxi's done, you look at what Jaylen Brown's done, you look at what Edgecombe could be, and you have to dock Embiid because he's not the same, but still good.
Yeah.
I would say probably in that late 90s Patrick Ewing kind of range of a center. I don't know
Yeah.
about
I
you.
mean, when he's healthy, he's still pretty close to the MVP caliber player he was. It's just the problem is he ever going to be 100% healthy again?
Yeah.
That's kind of the question. And it's going to be interesting because now they have the talent to get through the regular season and still put together a good record where
Hmm.
they don't need him necessarily to play 70, 75 games. Um, and they just need him healthy for April, May, and June.
Yeah.
That's been the issue. Even when he doesn't play a lot in the regular season, he still finds a way to not be healthy when the postseason comes. But if he is, it just needs to happen one time, and we've seen what can happen. You just need everything to kind of fall your way sometimes. They have enough that I think they could get it done. They could compete in the Eastern Conference.
And so now we look at this Eastern Conference team. I don't think it's any question. I think the East is a more talented conference. The West
Yeah,
is top heavy with the Thunder and San Antonio, but you can't even say San Antonio. I mean, the Knicks beat San Antonio.
right.
So
Yeah,
I look at, and they've made moves too. To me, especially with the Lakers losing LeBron, there's a chance LeBron goes to the East. We're going to get into that. The Eastern Conference is loaded because there's even bad teams where you look at the roster and you're like, you know what? They got a lot better. Like you could look at
yeah.
my Nets, for example, trading for Julius Randle.
Hmm.
They got a lot better. Washington, right? Whatever they're going to be, they're at least a really talented group. I mean, DeBonsta, Trae Young, Anthony Davis is talented. Those three are in starting five, and they got some young, interesting players that can kind of surround those dudes pretty well. The question for them is like health. Even like Chicago, like Josh Giddey's a real player, and Caleb Wilson is one of the top draft picks this year. So there's a lot. It's really just kind of Milwaukee. But even if you look at Milwaukee, I mean, we'll see how the two draft picks end up being. I think Burries could end up being really excellent. Nate Ament is a raw prospect that we could see take a leap or kind of just be uh, just a prospect that never turned out to be all that great. Um, you see a lot of like Zachary Risache like concerns with him,
Oof.
but then you'll see some like DeAndre Hunter, like when he's at his best, like that
Mm,
kind of player. Um, could be even more because he's just so big and long. There's just a lot, and they have professional basketball players. They have a former All Star and Tyler Hero.
yeah.
They have players, So excuse me, it's just a ridiculously talented conference. And Charlotte got worse, but they still have some really good players on that team.
Yeah, you got the Pacers are going to be back in the mix.
I
I
didn't
don't
even
know.
mention the Pacers.
I don't
Yeah.
know quite how good they're going to be, but they're at least a playoff team, I'd assume. You mentioned Chicago. They also got Norman Powell. He's a 20 point per game scorer
Yeah.
with like that's good offense to
Hmm.
provide uh, for your
Made the
team.
All-Star team last year.
Yeah,
Shouldn't have made it over Michael Porter Jr. But I think that's for sure since Norm Powell got moved to the bench.
I agree. Um,
Norm Powell got moved to the bench after the All-Star break. That was so ridiculous that he made the All-Star team and Michael Porter
yeah,
Jr. didn't. But
yeah.
whatever.
Orlando's been kind of a little quiet. They got Vucevic back, which is cool, but you know, try
It's
to
kind
build
of
on what they did last year. New
at
head
least it
coach.
had some shooting ability. Even though Vucevic was bad for Boston. Um, I don't. Orlando is just weird to me. You're basically banking on the fact that the coaching change is going to change everything. As of now, they haven't added any shooting really to that roster from what I've seen.
No, I don't
Um,
think so.
I think it's inevitable that they break up Paolo and Franz. There was a report today on that that would happen. They're exploring that. I don't know which one they trade. I think it analytically it's Paolo.
Analytically,
But
but
draft
they.
pick wise, it's it's Franz they move. It's just I don't know what they look like. We didn't even mention Atlanta, who made a lot of nice moves. They now have Kingston Flemings, who could be one of the top, could be the best all around guard. In the draft, just the way he defends, the way he play makes, and he could shoot, and he's just a super quick guy.
Mhm.
Um, and they needed a point guard. CJ McCollum obviously had some nice moments for them, but Flemings fits there like a glove. I, there's just so many good teams, and I think it's going to come down to the healthiest and high chemistry teams, but mostly health. I think because you can see Toronto. Yeah, they got Kawhi, but what if Kawhi plays 30 games next year and they get passed up by Miami? What if like Giannis goes down? Giannis hasn't had what was the last healthy season Giannis had really?
Mhm.
It's and he's the guy. If he doesn't play, I mean Miami can win a few games probably, but I don't know how good they are. So East is crazy.
Yeah, Miami. Well, let's talk about it because obviously, I th I thought everyone was think. Well, we all thought he was going to end up in Boston. He didn't.
I did.
I don't know whether he preferred Miami or if the Bucks just liked Miami's offer better. Whichever one it is, he's now in Miami Heat.
I think
Uh,
it's more they liked Miami's offer better. Um,
well, they got more like
they got more
in
stuff to work
quantity.
with.
Yeah, yeah, more stuff.
It's not a great trade for the Bucks. And a lot of people are killing that deal, and I get it, but at the same time, you have to understand that Giannis just hasn't been healthy. I think teams have legitimate fears of how good of a future player he'll be, just with his reliance on
Yeah.
athleticism. The fact that his one championship season is really the outlier in his career. Um, Look at the other playoff series he's played in. It's been bad. Like the playoff exits are really bad. And they've been really bad since he won the championship, but no one really talks about it because he won the championship. It's crazy what a championship will do. But yeah, I I don't think, I think you have to mention Miami. But I have a lot of concerns with them.
Yeah, they're gonna in this trade unit they give up Tyler Hero, most notably Kyle Ware, which was a young center that had a weird relationship with Eric Spoelstra, so it makes sense
Yeah.
that he's out of the door. Um, you give up a lot. You're a lot of ball handling. You don't have a lot of shooting. If you're Miami, they already kind of didn't have a lot of shooting. Jaime Jaquez also was in the deal. Um, not a lot of shooting already as it was, and now you're giving up Hero and Jaquez, and then you lose Norman Powell in free agency. They do bring back Wiggins, so you got a front court of Wiggins, Giannis, and Bam, which is a
Yep.
insane defensive front court. And
Yeah.
Davion Mitchell is also a very good defender
Yes,
that
who
they
I
start at point
really am a
guard.
fan of. And, Miami has the potential to be the best defensive team in the East, I think. They have the potential. Health wise, I just don't know. And Bam and Giannis, that fit offensively is strange. Just because they both like to work in that mid post area.
Yeah,
Um,
Bam has tried extending his range out to the three-point line. He didn't shoot well. I think he was like 31% from three this year. If that can improve at all, maybe get it closer to 35%, some 36, then it
yeah,
makes it a little more tenable because Giannis has played all of his elite years with a stretch five and Brook Lopez and then
yeah.
last year with Miles Turner a little bit. So to be playing with another inside big, it
Mhm.
seems like a not great fit, but if Bam tries to extend his range, probably try to play more on the perimeter a little bit.
Yeah, I think what helps them, like they fit a lot better, I think, than say like Jared Allen and Evan Mobley on paper. Bam Adebayo is an insanely skilled big. He can handle the ball very well. He almost handles it like a guard. Brings the ball up a lot. Both are exceptional defensive players. Both are smart players. Both pass well. Like I think it's going to be fine. But it is a weird fit. Like it's going to take like a little bit of time, and I trust Spoelstra to fix it and do whatever it takes. Miami has to be. You have to mention Miami just because Spoelstra and the fact that they can nickel and dime and find a bunch of players from the rough.
Right,
You have
right.
to mention that. So, I was curious. I we just talked about East versus West, but the other trade that caught my mind was the Ja Morant trade, and I want to get into
Yeah.
this
Hmm.
because the Giannis deal, it's been out there. The Bucks didn't get the best offer, like they probably could have if they didn't wait so long. And the Heat have a star, and they have a lot of injury and depth concerns. I don't think you could put them in over the Knicks or anything like that. So that's really just there. The John Morant trade was blew me away because I did not think of Portland as a team for John Morant. And then when I first saw the deal, I was like, oh, this is maybe a way to sweeten a Jaylen Brown move, get Jaylen Brown in Portland,
Yeah.
and Ja goes to like Boston along with like Sharp. And like that's the deal, and Boston's getting Sharp and John Tatum. Like that made sense to me. Now I posted a reaction video. There's a lot of Portland fans freaking going at me for this deal. And
Portland fans.
what they're missing is yes, John Morant for Grant and was it Chris who was it?
Chris Murray.
Chris Murray. Like yes, on paper, John Morant is the best player in the deal. He's also going to a team with a million point guards,
Yeah.
like a million.
They got Dame, Drew, Scoot.
It would be
Um,
different
yeah, a
if
bunch. Yeah.
they didn't have a point guard and needed, or like let's just say they just had Scoot and they did this trade. I get it. Because
Hmm.
then you're like buying on the upside of Ja. But they don't just have Scoot. They have Scoot, they have Dame, they have Drew Holiday, and they have Denny Avdia, who's best with the ball in his hands and kind of leading an offense. So this trade makes like zero sense from a paper standpoint. And the fact that Portland's analytic team thinks that Ja Morant is the better acquisition than Jaylen Brown for that team, have they watched John Morant the last 3 years? Like John Morant's teams played better without him too.
Hmm.
In a lot of years. So I don't get that at all. I think it's a ridiculous trade.
Yeah, from like a pure talent perspective, it makes sense. Like, all right, yeah, bring in John Morant. Buy low. You get off the Jeremy Grant contract. Chris Murray's not a guy I think they figured was part of their future. Decent. The younger brother, I think, of Keegan Murray, who's in Sacramento. Um, he's still in Sacramento, right? I don't know. I don't keep
Keegan
up.
Murray's in Sacramento, yeah.
Yeah, I don't keep up with the Kings. Um, good draft pick in Acuff though.
Mm,
But from a talent perspective, yeah, you say we got John Morant, we got Dame, who's gonna coming off the ACL. He's looked good in all the videos and workout stuff.
Achilles, yeah,
Achilles, right.
yeah.
And then you got Shaden Sharp, who's still bringing off the bench. You got Danny Avia, who I like, good, strong driver of the basketball, can pretty much do it all. Klingon, good big man. They have a lot of talent. And you're like, oh, and they made the playoffs last year. They competed last year. Gave a decent fight, I thought, against the Spurs, but they just were out talented. But now you put your faith and say, you know what, John Morant, we still believe in the talent. Get him in a new place where maybe there's not as much distractions, not as much nonsense going on around the team, and you say, all right, we can compete in the West. But just fit wise, when you look at the pieces themselves, John Morant, not a great shooter, and that's kind of been the problem with his development as a player, as an elite player. He has not become a better shooter. He can drive the ball and he can play make, but he's heavily reliant on the athleticism. And with the injuries he's also sustained, aside from the off the court issues, he's also had problems staying on the court.
Hmm.
That hurts his play style as well.
Yeah.
So bring
You know
that
what
in.
also hurts his play style? The fact that five other dudes want the ball.
Yeah, a lot of guards on the team. And I thought Scoot was making some strides last year,
Me
played well
too.
in the playoffs.
Hmm.
So to bring someone in to play over him, like it's a little confusing. Like you could bring Drew Holiday off the bench. He's in the later
Yeah.
stages of his career. You could
Hmm.
bring him off the bench. Start Scoot with Dame. You give, Dame a guard that can bring
Which
the
I don't
ball
really
up.
love that either. Like I don't. I'm telling you, man. Like
Yeah.
I just the Blazer front office. I thought had built like, all right, you want to bring Dame back? Fine. But you and I were having this conversation, especially with Scoot playing well at the end of the year and how Portland was a 7th seed. I'm like, Denny Avdia had a lot of the ball handling duties. I'm like, does Dame even like make sense for this Blazer team other than the fact that he's just a legend there?
I would imagine like ideally, I don't know if they could do this, but whether like their coach will do this, like kind of do what they do with Steph Curry. Like you don't have him bring the ball up, just have him run off screens, come off pin downs. Like he's
Hmm.
a great shooter. That's never going to go away. But you
Yep.
don't want him constantly dribbling the ball, driving, dunk. Like he doesn't need to do that anymore. You have guys that can
Yeah.
do that.
And that's why they bring in Ja. So they're gonna basically put Dame in that Steph Curry role. Here's the thing. Do you trust a coach that's on a 1 year guaranteed contract to figure all of this out?
I've I don't know if I've ever seen that be done to a coach. One that's also been a good assistant. It's not like this is just some guy they found anywhere where you're like, oh, we don't know if we trust him. Like to put your coach in that position where like, all right, 1 year guaranteed, see what you do. Like it's just
I
not
hate
doesn't show a lot
this.
of faith and just competence from a ownership or front office perspective.
No.
It's like, all right, you don't bring Tiago Splitter back. That's cool. Like I thought he did a good job in the
Mhm.
situation he was put in. All
Yeah.
of a sudden, your coach gets arrested for gambling.
Yeah.
So you move on from him. You bring in an assistant, Mike Nori, and you give him a 1 year contract. It's just so bizarre.
It's so terrible and it's not being talked about enough. It's so that owner has no interest in seriously owning a basketball team. You trade for John Morant, what, to sell some tickets, probably? It's a fun backcourt of John Morant and Damian Lillard. Let's get a star. Let's get John Morant, even though he has no fucking fit for this team. I just,
Yeah,
and it sucks because, like, I thought they took a big step um, in the right direction last year. Avdia was a major win. Clearly did, like, the Dame trade is kind of like whatever. They got him back, so it's like
yeah,
whatever. It wasn't this major setback for the franchise. The John Morant deal, it's so funny. A lot of people are like Blazer fans were telling me, well, they've been trying to trade Jeremy Grant forever, and they finally got off of his contract. Yeah,
That's
you
true.
know who's been trying to trade like a player
Yeah,
forever? The
the Memphis
Grizzlies with
Grizzlies.
Ja Morant.
I
They've
mean,
been trying to trade Ja forever, and this was the best they could get. The horrible contract of Jeremy Grant. It's you. So any Blazer fan thinking like, oh, if it doesn't work out, we'll trade him for another to another team, and we'll get
yeah,
assets.
that
No,
that'll
you're
be
not.
yeah,
You're
yeah. I
not
don't
going to
think
get
so.
any assets. You're going to have to give up assets if this doesn't work. And guess what? The last 2 point, and here's another thing, like giving me backwards, as if Andrew Nemhart. I got someone who said, "Oh, the Pacers had 2 point guards in the backcourt: Andrew Nemhart and Tyrese Halliburton." Okay, Andrew Nemhart is a combo guard. It's a lot. It's a very different
Yeah,
situation. Both of them can really shoot the ball. That's number two. And Tyrese Halliburton is 6'5". This is and Nemhart's 6'4". This is not a backcourt of two 6'2" point guards.
yeah. Uh,
The comparisons are Phoenix with Dragic and Eric Bledsoe. If you want to throw in Isaiah Thomas there too, like that was the year later. Guess what?
right.
They traded
Yeah,
Isaiah Thomas. Eric Bledsoe and Goran Dragic did not like playing with each other after a while. Okay, and that's kind of what happens when two guys believe they're at the same level and need the ball. But I'm sure John Morant's maturity will get through all of this between him and Dame. I just this is
yeah.
such a crazy. I can't believe people are defending
It's
this.
it's it, it's a gamble. What a crazy throwback Suns reference there.
And not only that,
Eric Bledsoe and Dragic.
I'm gonna bring your team into this. The Steve Francis, Stephon Marbury backcourt.
Mm,
Oh, let's bring two
yeah,
franchise. Yeah, that worked out great. No,
yeah.
it didn't.
It's tough. It's
It
tough.
never works. I can't believe people they say this. The closest thing that was successful was the backcourt of Eric Snow and Allen Iverson. That's probably the closest thing. But Iverson wasn't really a point guard.
No, he was the size of a point guard in those days,
Yes,
but
he was the
not.
size of a point
But
guard,
he
but he
was.
wasn't really a point guard. And those two at least kind of could play off of each other really well. I guess there's some potential that for Ja, but also the Eastern Conference that year was a joke. Like they come on. Like are we really just and is Dame or John Morant, are any of this two Allen Iverson?
No,
No.
I mean, Dame in his
They're good
prime
players.
could give him a run, but
Yes, they're not even
but
Dame's
but
not even in his prime.
Dame's not in his prime.
Dame's not even on his prime, and John Morant has gotten worse every year the last 3 seasons. It's this trade is a disaster in my opinion. But
Well,
I guess it's not the end of the world if it doesn't work out because they didn't really give up anything. But
yeah,
I don't know. I just think it delays your rebuild to a point where it's stupid to do it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of when the Hawks traded for DeJounte Murray a little.
right, yeah. Two
Yeah.
point guards.
Again, didn't
Two,
work.
2 point guards.
Oh, but those will complement each other because Murray can defend and no, it didn't work. Quinn Snyder, it didn't work. They had to fire coaches, didn't work. So yeah, that was ridiculous. I don't know if you're in line with me on it, but I thought it was stupid.
Yeah, I didn't love it. I thought Ja would probably end up in Miami, like just to add another
Yeah,
star,
and
another
that would make
slacker.
sense. And
Um,
but him
uh,
and Giannis is a weird fit. But I Jaws just prove to
yeah,
me that
it has more to do with John Morant, the style of play and what he's shown the past couple seasons is not a player that you can easily build around or fit into today's NBA.
yeah, there must have been something with the Grizzlies. Because honestly, I would have really enjoyed to watch him on this current Grizzlies team with the amount of size that they're building with Zach
Yeah,
Edey and Cam Boozer, Cedric Coward. I mean, like this is a Grizzlies team that I was interested in seeing Ja play on, and he just didn't want to know part of it. And clearly the franchise didn't either. Where do you think LeBron goes?
hmm. I say Cleveland. It
I
just
agree.
that's what makes sense as of right now. I know today the conversation's been very different because of what Rich Paul said. Um, Everything about the Knicks, that LeBron, if the Knicks had not won the title, LeBron would be on the New York Knicks, which I do believe. Because it's LeBron. Like that's
I
exactly
don't
the
I don't
type of
believe it.
situation.
I don't believe it for a
I don't
second.
know. The Knicks trying to get over the hump, not able to. 50 plus year uh, fi- uh championship drought. LeBron loves the Garden. He's teased playing for the Knicks, you know, over the course of his career. It seems like the type of thing he'd want to do. But since they've already done it, I don't think the appeal is there for him. I don't think he just wants to hop on to a ship that's already going well and just be. Even though I think he'd fit beautifully, I think all the basketball reasons make sense. But in terms of the optics and the narrative that I think he's going for, it's not. It doesn't make sense. I would love it, but I don't think it's gonna
I,
happen.
I, I don't think I don't I think Rich Paul was just talking out of his ass there. I really do.
I
I
think
think he
I
would
think
just
it's a little. I think it's a little bit of both. He is an agent, and he's trying to say, with the fear of, oh, maybe he is interested in the Knicks and he'll go there anyway. Like, because if he goes to the Knicks, they're clear favorites in the East and
Mhm.
one of the favorites in the whole in the NBA. And I don't think anyone wants that. Like, so if you're Cleveland, especially because Cleveland hasn't done anything really this offseason. Harden's still like in limbo. They haven't re-signed him, which is what screams to me that maybe Cleveland's trying to do something to maybe make it a little more attractive for LeBron or a little more to LeBron's liking. But it makes sense for LeBron to go back to Cleveland. It'd be an incredible final chapter to what has been an incredible NBA career. And you finish where you started, bring his career full circle. Miami's interesting, but we
I just don't
talked
see him
about
going to Miami.
we talked about it. I never thought that LeBron had any type of attachment to Miami to that set. Like, because what LeBron's focusing on is happiness right now. That's what he cares about. It's not financial, obviously, because no team could really pay him what he's worth. It's happiness, and he wants to compete for a title. Miami would be in the mix for a title, but I'm not sure if they'd have that much of a chance because you still have all the problems that we talked about so far today.
Mhm.
With LeBron, you bring more scoring and another playmaker, but shooting is still not at a premium. And LeBron flourishes when there's a lot of shooting surrounding him. And I've never thought that he had any type of attachment. He only spent 4 years there, and what has been 24 years now going into next season. He's
Mhm.
had his issues with Pat Riley. I think they've gone over it, but those things have still existed. He was only ever in Miami because of Dwayne Wade and because of their friendship and because
Yeah. Yeah.
they
And that could have
orchestrated
been.
that.
Yeah. I mean, listen. I think LeBron. I agree there. I think he's going back to Cleveland, and I think he just wants to say like, "There's 10 teams that are interested," to like stir up a little conversation about him. LeBron loves the theatrics. We could say that. Um, and it's another reason why I thought the Nick thing Rich Paul said is like, oh, he'd definitely go to the Knicks if they didn't win the championship. It's like, all right. Um,
And even
to
then, he
me,
was like, "Oh,
Cleveland
if
just
if,
makes
if Jalen Brunson makes a call," I'm like,
so let me get this straight. If LeBron goes to Cleveland, goes back to Cleveland, he says, this is where I always wanted to end it. I always wanted to end it here. Oh, does that mean Rich Paul's Knicks thing is still true? And
"Yeah, we don't really
we
know.
don't
We
know.
don't ever hear anything from LeBron himself. It's always from Rich
Yeah.
Paul." So,
Yeah. His agent just trying to like, again, it's like it's a Scott Boras thing too with baseball where we're just
Mhm.
trying to like just throw in narratives. I was gonna name a couple moves. I just want to hear like describe in one word or yeah, one word these moves. All right. Julius Randle to the Nets.
I like it. The guy can play, all
Yeah.
NBA player.
We'll do
And
sentence then. We'll do
yeah,
sentence.
I'll
Yeah.
do a
I
sentence.
like it.
Dude
Okay.
can play. I like the move.
Like the move. Raises the Nets floor,
Back
obviously
in New
you're
York,
back in New York, you know. Walker Kessler to the Lakers.
they needed a center, but gave up a lot of drafts compensation to do it.
Thoughts on Stephen A's take of three white guys?
I mean, it is interesting that they have a lot of white guys on the team, but you know,
Does John Stockton, Larry Bird, and Nikola Jokic win a championship?
John Stockton, Larry Bird, and Nikola
And Nikola
Jokic.
Jokic, three white guys as your best players that win a championship. I think it does.
I think it does. I
Well,
mean, yeah.
I guess that's unfair because they played in other eras. Um, it's just a hilarious
I've
situation.
heard that.
I don't
That's
really want to
interesting.
go into it. It's just
That's
hilarious that
interesting.
he said that. All right. Aiton to the Wizards just happened.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what the Wizards are doing. I don't know because they
This
have
this move this move confirmed to me that front office
kind of just
is just
they're
they're,
just doing stuff.
they're just
They're just doing stuff.
they're
Like, all
just
right.
doing stuff. Sometimes we like people did this with Raphael Stone as well, the Rockets general manager, where they're like, look what he's done. Look how much better the team is. And it's like, first of all, they didn't start winning until Udoka got there. So Udoka gets there, he's like, no, 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 get Fred Van Vliet. I think they were gonna get Harden. And then
They
Udoka
were.
gets
Yeah,
there
they
and he's
were. They're gonna
like,
get
no, get
Harden.
Fred Van Vliet. We need a mature guy in the room. We need, get in bring in Dylan Brooks, bring in these dudes because like this whole Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr. backcourt is not
Yeah.
working.
Yes.
So and then what's his name was the coach there before Adoka. I'm forgetting his name, but he was left out to dry. His father was a coach. I'm blanking on his name, but he, the Rockets were pathetic before Ime Udoka got there, and not pathetic in a way like we're trying to lose games and stuff. Like pathetic that the roster didn't make sense. They were just doing all this crap, and now you're seeing Houston is in a is kind of a mess right now. So it's being kind of revealed that Raphael Stone may not really know what he's talking about, what he's doing. Um, Washington, I see a lot of that
Hmm.
because you can look at their moves. They're like, well, they're way talented and they're way more talented than last year. They got Anthony Davis, they got Trey Young, and DeBonsta. I feel like if they didn't get DeBonsta,
Oh.
this
Yeah.
year would be so strange. Like you could make an argument like a Trey Young, Anthony Davis, whatever draft pick. Like imagine if they got the sixth pick and had to take point guards and after doing this Trey Young contract and
Right. Yeah.
they'd be such a mess. And they got the Bonsta and the reason why I also think they're such a mess is just because like this Aiton deal and then like their coach, like what is he? He gave up 83 points to Bam Adebayo. I just hate what they're doing. Um, what player gets traded quickly? What player gets traded, do you think, this week?
What player gets traded? The Trey Murphy domino hasn't fallen yet. I don't know
Yeah,
if the league is just on hold waiting for LeBron,
that
or
probably might be it.
the Pelicans just have no idea what they really want to do with Trey Murphy
Yeah.
or anyone
Yeah.
really on that roster. Joe Dumars doing a great job, you know.
Mm,
But yeah. Really, really fast. LaMelo to the Wolves. We didn't really touch on it.
yes, we didn't touch that.
Very, very interesting move. I like it for Charlotte. The more I've thought about it, I didn't like it at
Yeah.
first, but really stylistic change for Minnesota. It's gonna be an interesting team to watch.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to LaMelo playing 30 games. Um, I think Case and Wallace gets traded next week.
Oh, I forgot about, yeah, yeah. All
All
right,
right, man. Good
all right.
talking to you. Great off-season
Always,
talk. We'll keep it up.